Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for having me along. My name is Niall Ridgway. I'm part of the team at two different businesses. The first one is Digitise Education, and the second one is TA Scotland, also known as Tablet Academy Scotland. So with both of these businesses, I'm really lucky that I get the chance to travel all across the UK. I get to represent both Google and Microsoft. And as you'll see from these pictures, the first one there with the pink circle was me down in London. That was where I was presenting as Microsoft for the day. So I was showing people how to use things like Minecraft, getting to explore the different accessibility settings there, and basically just having fun talking about Xboxes, coding. They've got a great website called Make Code Arcade that allows you to code games, and you just follow simple instructions and you can create your own games. So that was a really fun kind of outing. I've done that a couple of times now down to London. And then the two on the right are where I was representing Google. So the one in the middle, I was giving a wee presentation about some of the work that we do here in Scotland and sharing some of just kind of the incredible things that we can use the Google tools for. And then on the one on the right, I was way down to Glasgow, and I was basically showing off all the fun things that you can use the Chromebooks for and having a little play around with some of the Google tools that are on there. So I started out as a primary school teacher, as David mentioned. So we were up in Inverness and trying our best to kind of get coding and gaming out there into the curriculum as much as possible. I started doing some of my Google certifications and started getting interested in kind of coding and how we can use coding to create games to support our students and to basically, as you are all doing with the Games Jam, have loads of fun and learn through gaming and just kind of enjoy gaming within school. So you'll see here, these are the businesses, as I mentioned earlier. Again, more photos as I get to kind of travel across the world and show off kind of how we can use coding and gaming to just have a good time and kind of explore that with our students and with our schools. On the left there, I was really lucky to give that presentation to, there was maybe about 100 people over in Dublin, and yeah, just having a great time using the coding. So I am absolutely a gamer at heart. You'll see here I've got it's a tablet that I'm using there on the left, where I have connected up a Bluetooth controller, and I was playing games there. This was from about 20, oh no, not 20 years back, about 10 years back, and I was using this to control the games, just mobile games that I was using on the tablet there. In the middle was, I was about to jump on a plane, so I took my Switch with me. If anybody knows what game that is, then drop it into the chat. You can shout out to your teacher and they can chuck it in the chat. But I am a very big Switch user. I've been playing the Switch for, it's been about 5 years now or so. Does anybody recognize that game there? I wonder if I can zoom in a wee bit to show you. Fortnite is not Fortnite. Good guess. Wait for one more. There's a big clue here on the bottom right-hand corner. I wonder if that's showing up there. Not Genshin. It is Pokemon. So I am a big Pokemon player. Hold on, why is it not zooming out now? Let's try this down at the bottom. I will just reload this. And there we go. So I am a big Pokemon player. I have been since I was way back in primary 1, where I had to fill in a sheet that said, what do you want to be when you're older? And I said I wanted to be a Pokemon trainer. And my family has never let me live this one down. But I'm still a very big Pokemon player. So there you'll see I've got my Switch with me, take it with me absolutely everywhere I go. I have also been I've also played loads and loads of different consoles throughout my life. So I'm going to have a wee bit of a quiz here just now. So we'll get your teachers just to pop into the chat what each of these are. So we'll start with number 1. This was the first games console that I ever had that belonged just to me, that I wasn't sharing with anybody else. Yep, we've got the Game Boy. So yeah, we've got the Game Boy Color there. That is number 1. That was where I got Pokemon. It was Gold that I played, and I played that every day and I absolutely adored it. Then number 2, we've got, pop it into the chat, what's this one here? See if anybody knows. Not a PSP, but good guess. Yes, it's a Game Boy Advance. And this is where my love for kind of skateboarding and snowboarding came from. So I played a lot of Tony Hawk on the Game Boy Advance, and I again carried that absolutely everywhere with me. Played it in the car, took it on holidays, and when I had to go and visit grandparents, I loved taking my Game Boy Advance, and I would plug it in. I had a big long cable that I would plug in, and I would play with my little brother, and we would play the same game at the same time and play against each other. And then number 3, I can see some people have popped in the chat already. This is the PlayStation 1. So I was really lucky. My granny had a PlayStation 1, and every time that we went to go up and see my granny, we got to play it, and we had a game called Jonolumu Rugby. And we played this rugby game every single time we went up to see my granny. So that was the 3rd console that I had there. And then number 4, see if anybody knows this one. This was the first kind of big console that I had at home. So number 4 was, it should have a cable coming out of it. It's a PS2. You're right, Mr. Keeler. So that was the PS2 that we had, and that was where I used to play a lot of FIFA with my brother, and we would stay up very late playing FIFA together, and we would do career modes, and we would take the lowest ranked teams and try to get them up as high up the leagues as we could. And then number 5, this was the first one that I actually ever bought myself. And so, yes, you're right, Ms. Walker, there. It is a PS4. I still have my PS4 to this day. It lives downstairs. And PS4 I've had for maybe about, must be about 8 years now. And yeah, PS4 has followed me absolutely everywhere that I've gone. And then lastly, number 6, if anybody recognizes that one, it's just a wee image to represent. Yep, it is the Nintendo Switch. So like I mentioned earlier, the Switch follows me everywhere I go. We've been playing a lot of Pokemon on it. Mario Kart, if anybody else plays Mario Kart, is massive in this house. We've tried to get as many different medals as we can. We've not completed it yet. Been playing it for years, still not completed it. But yeah, Mario Kart is a massive fan favorite for us. So I basically was, as I mentioned, I was a primary school teacher. I had my younger classes, mostly worked with the younger ones, and I was really into gaming, and I really fancied kind of, let's see what else we can do with this. So I'd already studied to be a teacher. I thought, let's go and get a second degree out there. So I started a computer science degree, and I learned how to code. I learned the basics of block coding, as you are with your with the Games Jam, and that's what got me started really, and got me really interested in coding and how we can use coding basically to teach maths, to teach literacy, to have as much fun as we can with the games in the class. So then I started a wee YouTube channel on the right hand side for my class. It's nothing fancy. It was recorded, everything was recorded on my Chromebook at the time. This was just during lockdown, and we started playing games with students, and we'd have videos out for them to enjoy in class and to kind of take part and learn. We then started, let's see, to incorporate games into our lessons. So I've got 3 games that I have created here. They're very basic. They're not nearly going to be as fancy as your Games Jam games, but I made these a couple of years ago, just myself, and used these with my classes so that they could learn things like numbers from 0 to 10 and the initial sounds as well, so Sapin. So I'll show you here. The first one that we've got is, they called this one the Space Dog game. And as a Space Dog, so I'm just using the arrow keys to control, you just have to go and
0,
collect all of the numbers.
1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
Okay, and then up in the top right hand corner, you're going to notice you've got a score. So you're just trying to collect all of the numbers and have a wee bit of fun with collecting those. So you'll see
1, 3, 4, 5, 7,
6,
9, 10.
You can control the creature, and we would have this out for students to play every single day. Now, classes have loved this, and I'll send you the links afterwards as well. So if you fancy playing it yourself, making it better, or want to go down and support the younger classes in your school to get into gaming and coding and bring in kind of gaming into their curriculum, then I think that's a great thing. So I'll share the links with you afterwards, and then you can go and play these with the younger students in your schools. The next one across, they called this one, my class called this the Crazy Chicken game. And so it's the exact same thing. All I've done is change the numbers to sounds. So as I scroll across, we've got a chicken. Okay, and we just control the chicken, and we just try to collect as many of the sounds as possible. Okay, really simple game. If I go along, it gets a wee bit harder. It's kind of based on, it started off as I wanted to create a kind of Mario platformer game. And yeah, we just kind of used this one over and over again. The students absolutely love this in my classes. And then the last game here was a football game that I created recently. And the goal for this game is to just score as many goals as you can. Okay, and we're going to be using this one later on. So all you have to do is, with your character, use the arrow keys to move back and forward and try to score the goals with your character. Okay, so it's not particularly easy though. It does take a wee bit of getting used to. So that's a little bit about me. What else do I do with my, how did I get into this role? I'm going to stop this before it keeps trying to score goals. How did I get into this role? Well, I was really lucky. As I mentioned earlier, myself and David, we were studying for the Google certification exams. I've got my level 1, my level 2. I'm a Google certified trainer, coach, and innovator now. I've got everything that you could ever possibly get at the moment. I'm sure there's going to be more. But I was studying for these at the time, and I messaged the company, so it's Tablet Academy Scotland, TA Scotland at the top, and was like, is there anything going? Give me a shout if you are needing a hand with anything. We did a load of live streams just as kind of a wee bit extra to kind of help teachers and show them all the fun things that you can use these tools for. And that was when I got the message to say, do I want to come and work for the company? And I was like, yes, absolutely. That sounds great. So I jumped at the chance, and now I'm so lucky because I get to travel all across the country, showing schools how to use these tools and yeah, have a great time with coding and with gaming with the schools. So jumping on a wee bit, does anybody have any questions? You can either you can either put them into the chat, or feel free to turn on the mics as well. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. And then once the questions are over and we've had a wee look at those, then I'm going to give you a wee task and a wee kind of thing to go away and have a look at. So does anybody have any questions for me? How I got started, my favorite games, anything at all?
While we're waiting for classes maybe to pop in the chat, Niall, I had a question that I'll give classes a wee bit of time to get those written down. So my question kind of has two parts. What age were you when you decided to go back and do your second degree in computing science?
I would have been about 26, 27.
26. So I suppose that's a precursor to my next question is, would that course have been easier if you had an opportunity like the game jam at primary school?
Oh, absolutely. I think it would have been a massive help to me because I was starting, I only had a very basic knowledge at that point of coding and of how to use block coding, how to kind of write HTML, CSS, these kind of things. So if I had the likes of the Games Jam to help me prior to that, it would have helped me so much. I would have loved to have known how to create the games, how to kind of use block coding, all the different blocks that are out there, and how to share those with others as well. So I think definitely the Games Jam is a great tool and a great experience for everybody to learn how to get into the gaming industry.
Perfect. Thank you. We have got a couple of questions in there. So one really important question, have you ever played Splatoon?
Now, I've not, but in Mario Kart 8, there is the Splatoon levels and there's characters in it. So I know a little bit about Splatoon, but I've never actually played it. So it's definitely something that's on my list of games to play. I do need to get into Splatoon.
Excellent. And Mr. Love has asked, how long did it take you to make that football game on Scratch?
A great question. That was probably about a morning, maybe a couple of hours, maybe 2 hours or so. A lot of it was researching and working out, how do I create this game? How do I add the scores? How do I learn how to add in different sprites? How do I change the sprites? How do I add in backgrounds? That kind of thing. So all in all, it was about 2-3 hours to do it. If it was just the actual coding part, it wasn't long at all. And a lot of the things, I've had a look at the Games Jam, a lot of the skills that you've learned through the Games Jam absolutely apply to these games. So I can send over the link to all the games that I've kind of had a look at today. And you can go into the back end and you can see kind of what code is in there. It's really not that hard at all.
I think that would be really useful, Niall, because I'm sure we've got some football fans in schools that maybe are thinking about a football-related game, so it would be good to have a look at the back end. And you kind of mentioned that there was multiple sprites there, backgrounds, variables through your scoring, all topics that we cover through the 14 lessons in the Game Jam, which is really cool. And also an opportunity to maybe highlight your lesson 14 about multiplayer, where you could turn that football game into a multiplayer football game quite easily. So yeah, that's a really good example. Mr. Keeler said, Madison, what inspired you to make those games?
Great question. It was my class at the time said that they would come in telling me stories. There was somebody came in every day telling me about the Jurassic Park Lego game that they were playing at the time. Somebody was coming in telling me about FIFA at the time that they were playing, and I was thinking, hold on, I could create these games myself. I want to give this a wee try and see if I can incorporate that into our lessons. We can use it for our storytelling. We can use it to learn sounds and learn the numbers. And it means I get to have fun creating the game, and my students got to have fun playing the games as well. So the inspiration definitely came from being in school and from my students.
Excellent. And I know for the teachers on the call as well, they're probably thinking that those sat pin games and the number games would be welcomed down in the early years settings to introduce gaming into learning, which would be really cool. So Noah also asks, really important again, what's your favorite Pokemon game? And have you heard about the new one that was announced yesterday?
So I have, as soon as it came out, I got all the notifications coming through. I was even reading about it this morning as well. So Pokemon ZA was announced yesterday. So it's going to be coming out in 2025, I believe. My favorite Pokemon game of all time is probably Pokemon Gold, because it was the first one that I really got into and started kind of understanding a wee bit. I did play Pokemon Yellow before that, but I needed to sit there with somebody to help me read what was going on. I didn't really understand what was happening, but by the time Pokemon Gold came out, I was able to kind of understand and actually get into it and play with it. My brother had Pokemon Silver, so we would trade all the time and share Pokemon, and those have then followed me up through further generations as well. So yeah, great questions there.
Excellent. Divine and Stephen asked, do you play Fortnite?
I don't play Fortnite. I have previously, but I basically at the time my brother and I were big into gaming growing up, and he is so good at it. He has all the different skins that you could ever kind of imagine, and he was showing me what to do. I personally am more of a kind of one-player game player. I love things like all the Lord of the Rings games. I am big into kind of playing career modes on FIFA. So as much as I enjoyed playing Fortnite together with him, because it's just me up here, I much more prefer to kind of playing the one-player games. But great question there, asking about Fortnite.
And another really good question is, where is your favorite place you've ever worked?
Good question. So I would probably say that Dublin was really cool, getting to see everybody there. I guess my favorite place that I've ever worked was on an airplane, because I had to create a presentation on an airplane ready for it. It was like a couple of weeks away that I was making it for. But I mean, the views were incredible. I got to look out over the sea, have the blue skies and clouds beside me as I was typing away and writing these scripts and writing, kind of finding pictures from the documents that I had already. So possibly my favorite place that I've ever worked is the airplane.
That is not an answer I was expecting.
No.
But really cool. Again, you've inspired some Pokemon chat here. So when playing Pokemon, what's your favorite Pokemon and why?
Great question. When I was younger, I really liked Ditto because it could transform into any Pokemon that is out there. I really like that one. More recently, I have been playing a wee bit of kind of some of the more later Pokemon games, and then I love kind of seeing all the new variations of Pokemon that are out there. So you've got the different they took the old Pokemon that are out there and they've given kind of revamped them a wee bit. So like Farfetch'd has been revamped. They've got, is it Sir Farfetch'd now, which is really cool. So I like seeing all the new variations on the old Pokemon that are out there.
Cool. I imagine you could talk about that for a lot
Oh,
longer than you
yes.
have. So well done for condensing that answer, Niall. Also, hopefully I say this right, but do you follow Griffpact?
I don't. I'm not sure who this is, so I'm definitely going to have to go and have a wee look there.
You might have learned something new there, Niall. So
I
that's
think
a
so.
gift for you.
Thank you.
Sheehan comments saying that it has to be Psyduck for his
Psyduck.
favorite. And the last question in the chat, before we get moving on to your activity, have you ever played Zelda?
Yes, I have. So growing up, my pal had Zelda playing, and I would go over to his and I would play it on his GameCube, and we would play together. And then more recently, again, it's on Mario Kart 8. They've got the Zelda track, and you can play as Link and collect all of the gems as well. So I've not played Zelda recently. I played it ages ago when I was younger, but I do still kind of touch in on it with the playing Mario Kart.
Excellent. And just for your information, Griffpatch makes a lot of Scratch games, so it might be worth all of us checking out Griffpatch to see if that's something that we can share through the Game Jam. Thanks very much for answering all those questions, Niall, and I'll let you get cracking with the little task that you're going to set for everyone.
No problem at all. So I mentioned earlier that we're going to have a wee look at the football game. Now, we do touch on this in, I think, am I episode 14? For the
14,
Games Jam.
Yeah.
We do touch on this, but this is always a fun thing that I do with any classes that I nip into. So recently I've been traveling down as Microsoft, and we've been going in and kind of using Scratch games to show everybody how to use sprites and how to play around with sprites. So I'm going to head to this game here, to the football game, and I'll give you this link in just a wee second so that you can have a wee play yourselves. But I'm going to, let's just zoom in. So it's a wee bit easier for everybody to see. We're going to edit the footballer sprite. Okay, so we're going to play around with the footballer sprite. You do not need to touch any of the code that's in here. If you want to, you can copy it to your own games and create your own games at a later point using this code, but don't need to touch any code at the moment. All you need to do is click on the footballer down on the right-hand side and then head up to costumes on the left-hand side. So on the top left, click on costumes. And from there, I would just like you to design your own footballer using the costumes for the sprite. So you can do things like you can paint their hair. So we've got purple hair here. So I'm just going to hit on the paint tool and I'm just going to paint the footballer's hair. We're going to give them purple hair. Let's give them a little white stripe in there as well. So I'm just going to decrease the saturation and give them a little white stripe in there. I am a big football fan, so I'm more than happy for you to kind of edit the football kit as well to any kits that you recognize and that you maybe play with or that you've got at home. So I myself am a big Hibs fan. I'm from the Edinburgh area, so I'm going to color in this kit green. So I'm going to increase the saturation again. I'm going to make this a wee green kit for my footballer. You can edit the kit in any way that you like to whatever team you like as well. And the last thing to show you how to do is you can also edit the proportions of the footballer. So this was something that somebody else, I was in a school and they showed me how to do it, and I thought, that's brilliant, that's a great idea. But why not increase maybe the size of the head or the size of the legs of your footballer so that it's easier for you to score with? So you can click and you can drag and highlight over all of their head. And then from there, you can just click and increase the size of your footballer's head. Okay, so it's a lot easier for you to score that way. So I thought I would give you a nice wee task to go away and create your own little footballer. And then when you hit play, you can play as that footballer. Okay, so to do so, all you need to do is, let me just share this tab. It's at the end here. Is type in this link. So it's bit.ly/digitize-football. I will put it into the chat just now for anybody. -football. Oh, thank you, David, for putting that in. And it needs to go up at the very top of your screen. So you up at the top where your tabs are for your search. For your searches, it needs to go up at the top there when you're searching. Once you click on that link and you search for that link, it's going to take you to a page that looks like, I'm just going to click on this again. It's going to take you to a page that looks like this. So all you need to do is then click on footballer on the bottom right corner, and then on the top left, click costumes. And I just want to give you a chance to create your own footballer. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for having me along. I hope you've learned something new. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to everybody. So thank you very much for having me.